On the bench, by far the best team in Premier League in that aspect, and this season already happened in 2 games twice. It's not a coincidence, but it speaks more about the players that we have, the character that we have in our dressing room.
I think for me it's clear and obvious. He's got 2 hands in my back. He's created an advantage for himself. He's clearly stopped me from getting to the ball. So yeah, for me, I think it should have been a foul.
I felt that we were a good team until our goal, and then we forget about our ideas and try to hold on the advantage. So we are struggling so much. We want to win so bad football games that when we score, we were just thinking about hold the advantage.
I just wonder how much that little collision with the referee affected you.
No, obviously, as everyone, you have your own routine, and I was preparing myself to get the penalty. Yeah, that got a little bit of my nerves, but it's not because of that I missed the penalty. I missed the penalty because I kicked very bad the ball. I took it 2 under, and the ball ended up going over the bar.
We'll get on to the taking of the penalty in a second, but there's quite a lot to unpick, isn't there, in the actual awarding of that penalty?
Yeah, it's a tale of a number of corners within the game, and one of the main ones was the penalty that was given, and VAR rearing its head again. And we're looking at Casemiro, and the sole purpose of Mount and Shaw is to clear the path and block the players, and I'll say it, hold the players of Fulham to stop them getting in challenging. Now, he almost does that for them, but there's no real appeal from any Manchester United players. And one of the reasons is they said it was given that was Bassi was the initiator, the person who fouls first within there. And we look, Luke Shaw's already got hold of Munoz in there, and Mason Mount is going in. They both instigate the move. If they didn't instigate the move, those 2 players would be happy to go and make the header and clear the ball. We can see that, yes, Calvin Bassey does throw him over the leg, his own leg, but within that, you've got a number of fouls already being committed. And if there's any doubt, we can see the other arm there of both players holding the play. Now, they have no intention of going playing the ball. So their sole purpose is to hold and foul the Fulham players, and that's what they've done. So it's a really dubious call or unclear. So in the eyes of VAR, there's enough doubt in there to stay out and just leave it as a football in motion. You can't do that, as Calvin Bassey said. He's admitted himself, I shouldn't do that. But Troy, have you ever had a referee come along and try and put you off after giving you a penalty? Because it did help. He says it didn't, but it did.
I think, Bruno's fair play to him, he's fronted up there, but it has knocked him off his stride, because normally he'd be more composed now and he passes it in, but he actually lashes this one, and a little bit of pressure. And I think for Amarin, he just wants that moment. They started the game off so well, and they haven't got the goals. He must be thinking, what have I got to do to just get the win over the line? Cunha hitting the post, then that missing the penalty. The game could have been out of sight.
And then there was more controversy in the build-up to the goal itself, and another situation where a foul could have been given.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it's a tweak that Man United did. So you can see here with Fulham, they overload the front post here. So they've got 4 in there in the areas here. So Man U would target the back post, as Rob has just alluded to. But if we move it on to the second half, again, same setup, but now Man United at half-time have deliberately moved it to the back post. They've got Yoro and Bassi here. I want you to keep an eye on Bassi. Great ball in for Brian and Burmo here. Again, got that quality. But he just pushes him in the back there, Ledy Yoro, gets the header. Muniz turns his back, which I don't think Marco Silva will be too happy about. But for me, that's a foul. When you push the defender in the back, and it's more, not, could he be stronger? Yes, absolutely. Would I want my centre-back to be stronger? Of course I would. But where the ball lands is where Bassi would have been. So he's moved him out of the way. And here's the perfect example. Look, the 2 hands in the back, pushes him just enough off balance. It's a poor header, but ends up going in the back of the net. But for me, that's a foul.
It has a direct impact on the goal. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at, for VAR, when you have something clear and obvious that has a direct impact on the goal, you flag it, and then you ask the referee to go over.
And Bassi was saying afterwards, wasn't he, that he was told that it didn't have a direct impact, which is why it wasn't given as a foul, but clearly it did.
Yeah. Well, you're looking at VAR to say, you should have stayed out of the first one and actually stepped in with the second one and got it the wrong way round.
Let's talk about some positivity, and Fulham's substitutes are certainly that, aren't they? Dynamic, energetic, changing the game for them.
Yeah, and again, we're going to get onto the benches afterwards, but for me, I think Fulham have been great since the back end of last year. They've scored 19 goals now with their subs, and every sub that they made was an attacking one with more positive impact. And as soon as we break to it, look, you got Jimenez, Smith Rowe, Harry Wilson on the other side, all running forward. Again, but when the changes for Man United, for me, goes wrong, because this would have been Ahmad, he would have turned inside the set. But even Dalot on this, just set it to Fernandes. Look, it's 3v2 on the top line. Just manage the game. He doesn't, for some reason, tries to turn out. It won't be great on the front foot. And this is another substitute here with Robertson, and he makes this goal for me. Lovely little ball. He could have stood at Amari's work, but look, he runs into the space. In that, he moves Lenny Yoro, Ugarte, and even Dalot goes to him as well, but he forces the lit to come across. He now opens up that space, and like all good forwards, Emmanuel Smith-Rowe, he just looks at there, runs in, runs off Bruno Fernandes and scores. And for me, Fernandes is at fault in this, and I'm going to show you why here. Just as that goes now, look, you can see Smith-Rowe to his left. Everyone's body position is moving forward. Now they're all locked in, man for man. He can't let that player go because he has to wait for someone to take him off him. Unfortunately, it does. It's a wonderful ball from Alex Iwobi, and it's a lovely deft finish from Smith-Rowe. But Man United have themselves to blame.
You mentioned about how successful they've been in terms of the effect and the impact of their subs. 19 now they're on. You said 17 over last season from their subs goals, and obviously goals often mean points, and for them, you know, crucial, valuable points. They got one. Same thing happened to them last week as well. I guess that points to Marco Silva having to then really kind of balance his squad out, doesn't it? Because Smith-Rowe will want to start, but what an impact he's made for him today.
Yeah, and you're looking a couple of years ago, it was a Fulham side that couldn't change the course of a game. They really were stuck in setting a gear and couldn't really have an impact. But now you looked at how they played, and it was brilliantly highlighted of the runners beyond, the runners from midfield. And Marco Silva highlighted that before the game and after the game, saying they've got the 3 or the 5 at the back, whichever way you want to put it. So we need those extra runners. They had them in abundance on the bench, and you just had to wait for that time. And it's selling it to your players to say, you're on the bench, but you're going to have to make this impact in the game. And they're doing it time and time again.
And when you look at those two benches, Manchester United and Fulham's, and you think about the fact that Fulham have spent about £400,000 in the transfer window, and Manchester United considerably more. Yeah. Those benches for you, Troy, are actually unbalanced the way you wouldn't think.
Yes, I think for me, when you look at it, Šeško is the only one who's a natural attacking, positive option. The rest of them, again, Xerxes had a poor season. Man United fans are not sure. Mainu and Maguire, Ugarte, they're all like-for-like subs. When you look at Fulham, they can make defensive changes, they can make attacking changes, they can change formation. Just seems more well-rounded. So for me, it just looks as if that Man United have got so much work to do. And also, they have to leave people out. Your Garnachos, the Sanchos. The decisions that they've made is actually hampering them. So they need to get rid of these players quickly, or they've got to put them in, because now they're killing themselves.
So with that in mind, and the transfer window coming to a close, you know, very soon, what do they need to do in this next
business?
week or so?
Quick. They need to get out to get in, because they need options on the bench.
Do they need a keeper?
And a keeper. If Onana's not your man, Bayindir is certainly not your man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nervous today on corners.
Yes.
An understatement,
An
to say the least.
on that, yeah.
Yeah.
OK. Next.
One more point for Manchester United than last weekend, but a whole lot more problems. Crises come more quickly for them each season, it seems, and just 2 Premier League games into the new campaign, it is already veering towards one. In fact, Fulham will believe, with justification, that they should have won, with the glaring inconsistencies of how VAR is used being exposed. Yet again, either there is a crackdown on contact in the penalty area from corners, as promised by the Premier League, or there is not. Clear and obvious. Do us a favor. Both big incidents were obvious. But only one was given. United's problems are also obvious, from front to back. Even the good news is tempered. Yes, their forward line looks far better, and it may well have been a very different game and result had Matheus Cunha taken the 2 fabulous chances he helped create in the opening 15 minutes. But he did not, and, those 2 games in, United have spent more than £200 million on 3 new attackers, and their top scorer is, own goal. With 1 goal behind them, it starts to get a lot worse. The reorganization has forced Bruno Fernandes back into a deeper midfield role, and he does not look happy there and is far less effective. He craves more freedom and still seeks it even if he is expected to be disciplined. It does not help that alongside him is 33-year-old Casemiro, who evidently cannot play for little more than an hour these days. The Brazilian was substituted after 65 minutes in the 1-0 defeat to Arsenal last weekend and even earlier on this occasion, lasting just 53 minutes. In both games Manuel Ugarte came on, but the Uruguayan has struggled and still struggles with the pace of the Premier League. We knew that we would be able to get behind their two midfielders, Fulham's Alex Iwobi, who created their goal, said. We exploited that. They did. But what an indictment it is of United and the weakness right at the heart of their team.